everyone, and welcome back guys to a brand new video. And today we are here for something a little bit different. Now recently I decided to join another Formula 1 2017 league. There will be a few highlights coming from different leagues over the next few weeks, but today we are here with round 2 of STB. Now unfortunately I didn't actually race in the first round of this series, hence why there is no highlights from Australia, but I'm still going to talk whilst we get on into this qualifying lap, because I sort of joined this league a little bit last minute. I wanted to, race on. I think this is Monday night, so, wanted a little bit of a change and decided to join this league. A couple of my mates sort of race / run it as well. They also do some live streams from it as well, so I was like, yeah, sure, why not, give it a go, give it a try, something a bit different. Now, unfortunately, I had done next to no practice for this race, and I was having a few issues, actually, with car sounds. Now I had this issue as well during AOR, the evaluation race, so really need to try and get that fixed. But although on Elgato all the audio should be coming through absolutely fine, it is whilst I'm recording this video. Unfortunately, during the race I just simply couldn't. I could barely hear the car during qualifying, so that's one of the many reasons why this lap was so terrible. Just without hearing the car, you really do struggle, I found personally. Anyway, obviously I run manual gears and everything, so it does mean that I struggle without, being able to hear the engine as much as I probably would like. But this lap was not particularly good, hadn't really been able to get the practice in, hadn't really, been able to get anywhere close to pinning a good lap down. So we'll have to wait and see where I was able to qualify there. You can see Mercedes on the inside as we come down this long back straight, nearly running out of fuel by this point around the circuit, to be honest. We really tried to cut it tight, and unfortunately, as we come towards the final couple of corners here, short shifting back up into 4th gear to give myself as best a run as possible down towards the line. And we're going to come through the final corner there, get all over the curbs, but down towards the line. We have to put it back down into lean mix there, and it's only P9 as we entirely run out of fuel there. So certainly not the position I would have wanted early on. And unfortunately, where we ran out of fuel, we weren't able to get back round to go out for another lap. Obviously, qualifying on this game is so much shorter than in previous titles, so it meant I couldn't go out for another lap, and that left me all the way down in P10 on the grid by the time everyone had come through. Probably the worst position to be starting here at China, because it's horrible between a 1 or a 2 stop Grand Prix. Only 8 tenths off pole though, so that still filled me with a bit of confidence that there was a lot more time to find in the race. But starting from probably the worst position on the grid, it was going to be interesting to see how we were set to fare during the early stages. My teammate Bird is the word starts in P3 on the grid, so I don't know if I'm going to be teammates with him throughout the whole season. We shall wait and see. But here we are then, lining up on the grid, ready for the Chinese Grand Prix. We've got EPT, one of my good mates, starting just alongside me here, so we can trust him down in towards the very long and tricky turn one, that hopefully he won't cut in front of me there. Unfortunately, the guy ahead of me had actually disconnected, which gave me a little bit of clear air down in towards turn 1. But 5 lights on the grid then, ready for the Chinese Grand Prix, and it's 5 lights, and away we go. And short shifting straight up into second to try to give myself the best run down towards turn 1, and I have actually been able to move past EPT right off the start there, down towards turn 1. Just going to try and keep it nice and clean down, hold it on the inside of the apex there. The Force India ahead of me getting a little bit sideways there, a little bit of contact further up the road. We're then going to switch to the inside as Ethan does opt to back out through turn 2 there, but now coming out of the exit turn 2, my teammate has actually binned it on the exit there. Unfortunately for him, he was looking very strong for this race, but that was a very costly mistake. Down in towards turn 4, they can see the Force India going side by side with the Red Bull. Does slow the Red Bull down of, I think that's Legends there. So we're now going to try and have a look up towards the inside, in towards the tricky S section here, just not about flat out as we move, with the heavy fuel at the start of the race. You just can't, you're not able to maintain the momentum through the corner there. But we move up into P6 of the race. So it's actually been a very successful start for myself, making up 3 positions nice and early on in the Grand Prix. But unfortunately, the Force India in front of me there just breaks a little bit earlier than I expected, so I just dinked the back of him through on towards, this second snail section on this lap. And that was really unfortunate, because although that might not look like a lot of damage, it really does cost you around a track like China, especially on that side as well. Probably even worse for tyre wear. And it's around a track like China, especially with tyre wear is so bad as it is, that was really set me back early on. Legends tries to dive down the inside in towards the final couple of corners there, but I'm able to hold it right around his outside through the second last corner. Going to have the inside through the final turn. You can just see already the lack of downforce there as we go through the final corner really, really cost me there. As Legend now going to go for a bit of a switchback as I made that mistake on the end of the lap, and now he's going to have a look right to the outside there. I'm going to back out down towards turn 1. Horribly butcher my apex there, and unfortunately for me, the Haas of Mr. Did is able to go down my inside as well there. So it started out strong, and we seem to be slipping backwards very, very early on in this Grand Prix. So I'll have to wait and see what we are able to do about this. Going to try and potentially risk it for a bit of an alternate strategy here as well. I'll have to wait and see how well that does fare for me later on in the Grand Prix as the Haas and the Red Bull go side by side through turn 3. But skipping on now to lap 4, my Ferrari teammate, Bird is the word, is going to try and have a look down my inside. You know, we're not really going to hold him up. He's much quicker at this moment in time as we break down in towards the hairpin corner here. As you can see, he's going to get past me there, but he loses the back end on the exit of the corner there. That's certainly not what you want to be greeted with, you know, Ferrari facing sideways in front of you there. So really, you know, he just seems to be that tiny bit inconsistent at the moment. And now we've got our first couple of drivers that are starting to make their pit stops in this Grand Prix as well. So this is going to be critical now. I really want to try and drag these tyres as far as I possibly can as we skip on to the end of lap 6. More and more drivers are now opting to make their pit stops in this Grand Prix. And I'm going to try and gamble it, go on to a set of the medium tyres for the second half of this Grand Prix. And as you can see, we're only on lap 7, so we're only a quarter of the way through. But come towards the end of lap 8, we got Bellielli, who's going to try and look down towards my inside, down this long back straight here. Certainly going to be able to get the momentum in the Sauber car there. We're going to try and duck back into the slipstream, even though they've got DRS down in towards the big heavy braking zone. At the end of the straight, going to move back over to the racing line, try to not run into the back of the Sauber car there. But now we've decided at this point, you know, with the front wing damage, we're going to opt to change the front wing and move on to the set of the medium tyres nice and early in this Grand Prix. Probably a little bit earlier than I wanted to take these tyres, but really for me, you know, the strategy was just going to be try and hold it out and wait for people to sort of pit near the end of the race, because people, even though if they have to pit sort of around sort of lap 20, what I was going to do is save this set of medium tyres up to that point and then sort of have a little bit of extra grip right at the very end of the Grand Prix. So hopefully for me, you know, the plan was for it to all sort of come good right at the very end of the race, but we'll have to wait and see how well that does work out for myself as EPT moves on to a set of the soft tyres right behind me here. But coming down towards the exit of the pit lane is Shimel Heskey, who some of you may have known from AOR Season 12, is able to fly past me as well there. So up now into P11 of the Grand Prix. So we've dropped positions off my starting place, but, you know, for me now, the rest of the race was hopefully about, you know, trying to make gains whilst everyone else was pitting, avoid carnage, you know, avoid having any incidents with people, and hopefully it should all come clean for me right at the very end of the Grand Prix. But we'll have to wait and see how I do fare there as we skip on a couple of laps later to a lap 10, and we're now all over the back of the other Renault car of Shamil here. So we've got the Rich Revs, he's going to move to the inside, we're going to have the DRS as well, and hopefully we're going to try and line up a move down in towards the final couple of corners. He's going to then stay to the inside. I'm going to dummy him there and move out to the outside there. He brakes very, very early. We run a little bit deep into the corner there, just trying to give myself the most distance we can possibly to brake there, and we hold it right around the outside through the hairpin corner there. So now back up into the points in this Grand Prix. He thinks about trying to go for a bit of a switchback there, but with the full front wing once more, it was actually quite surprising how much extra grip we had. But Shamil goes down, back down the inside in towards turn 1 there, but we're just able to go for a bit of a cheeky switchback move back up the inside through turn 2, squeeze him out on the exit of the corner, and, you know, hold on to the apex through turn 3 there. Now back up, so we've solidified at P10 now in this Grand Prix, and now as you can see, skipping on to lap 20, and you see there's been a lot of action. We've moved up now into P7 of the Grand Prix as everyone has now opted to take, well, most people have started to take their second pit stops of the Grand Prix, and this is where it's starting to come up for me. You know, we've been able to, on this set of mediums, get a bit of consistency in, and now where a lot of guys had to pit onto softs right at the end of the race, as you can see one of the McLarens actually getting speared off the circuit there. This was really, you know, where these guys also in their final stint would get to about lap 26 and then their tyres would fade away as well. It was really for me about, you know, trying to just keep these tyres within a good operating window, and hopefully then that would leave me in a strong position, not only during my stint, but also right at the very end when other people should really have the advantage there. But now we get a bit of a switchback move on the Sauber of Bellielli there, so now move back up into P5 of the Grand Prix here. And as I said, you know, this strategy really sort of works out nicely for me right at the very end of the Grand Prix here. We might lose out on a couple of positions unfortunately, right towards the end. As you can see now, we have got Mr. Did all over the back of me once more here, as we're now up into P4 of the Grand Prix. The tyres are starting to suffer just a bit, but not as badly as I actually thought they would. You know, 18 laps, 19 laps on this set of tyres here. But Mr. Did's going to go down the inside. Not really too much I can do about that. You know, I can sort of defend positions from that 26 onwards, but up to that point, not really too much I can do, whilst these guys have still got much fresher tyres than myself. Mr. Did in the Haas, though, therefore moves back up into P4 of the Grand Prix, and hopefully, you know, we could try and hold on to P5. We've actually got Toxic Fusion, who is now just behind me on a set of the super soft tyres here. So hoping, you know, we can try and hold off from him on the final, well, the final 2 laps of the Grand Prix. But on to the long back straight of lap 27, you see Toxic Fusions is all over the back of me now. You know, we've got 1 lap to go. Not much tyre life left in these set of medium compounds. This is really not looking too good for myself. But through towards the final couple of corners on this lap, you see coming out through the final corner, we're actually coming to P4, as unfortunately there has been the disqualification glitch. I was technically in P5s. I think it was it Mr. Did? I think it was that actually got disqualified as well. Unfortunately for me, at the end of the race, I was re-inherited with P5 overall, so 10 points in the bag. I did say Toxic Fusions probably would have got me, but he, you know, really wasn't too bothered about a couple of extra bonus points there. But there we are then, P5 at the end of the Grand Prix. My strategy did actually come out very nicely for myself right at the very end. But hopefully you guys have enjoyed this video. Do not forget to like, subscribe if you want to see more content from the channel, and I will see you guys next time for a brand new video.